Thank you for listening to this PodcastOne production. Available on Apple Podcasts and PodcastOne.
This episode of Steve Austin Show is brought to you free today by our friends at BetOnline.ag. September is all about beginnings, the start of school, the start of fall, and the start of the football season. Right now is a great time to get in on tremendous sports betting action in the NFL and college football. Get in the mix at BetOnline.ag and use the promo code PodcastOne for your 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline.ag, your online sportsbook experts and exclusive partner of PodcastOne Sportsnet.
The following program is a PodcastOne.com production.
From Hollywood, California, by way of the Broken Skull Ranch, this is the Steve Austin Show.
Give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Now, here's Steve Austin.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Steve Austin Show. I am coming to you the mean streets of Los Angeles, California today. Sitting over here at 317 Gimmick Street, about to open up a hell of a can of audio whoop-ass for you today. My good friend, the Big Show from WWE, Paul White, stopped by the crib today. He's been in Los Angeles for a couple of months. He's got a few more months left. He is shooting an episodic series called The Big Show Show. Going to start streaming on Netflix here as a build into WrestleMania. We're going to get more into the details of that and talk about how he's taking to acting, how he's liking it, and all that stuff. God dang, he cruised up here in a big, long-ass four-wheel drive, 4x4 Chevy pickup truck. I had to parallel park a sumbitch for him. It was good seeing him, man. He looked like $1 million. And he's adjusting to life out here on the West Coast. I believe the Big Show lives down there in Miami. Man, this is a conversation that's all over the place. Shooting the breeze about cars, trucks, wrestling, entertainment, acting, some of his goals, how he's feeling these days. He had a badass hip infection. He had some problems coming from that. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff on this podcast. As I recorded this podcast, the length was damn near about 2 hours long. Of course, so Sean's going to get his hands on it and trim it up. So I'm going to keep this open relatively short because right now, as I record this open, the conversation happened yesterday on Saturday. Today is Sunday. I forgot to buy 4 bags of ice to carry all of my Broken Skull IPA and my big-ass cooler to go down to New York City to Madison Square Garden, which will have aired last night on Monday Night Raw. In case you missed it and you're just listening to the podcast today, it's already happened. I should be back in my crib about, I don't know, sometime Tuesday. But anyway, by the time this podcast drops. Anyway, I'm going to keep this open kind of short. I'm going to ice down my beer. I'm going to have some margaritas tonight. I got a big-ass steak to cook. I'm looking forward to getting down there to Madison Square Garden. I never again thought I'd be in that building again. I know it's already happened as you listen to this, but I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of renovations they've done to it. And that building had a lot of magic for me and anybody else in the business of pro wrestling or other people that have performed from other aspects of entertainment in that building. It's a very special building. And they just put out this big thing on their Twitter account or their Instagram account of Austin 316 on the top. I guess it's imposed, whatever you call it, whatever the drawing thing is. Looks like Austin 316 has been written on the roof of Madison Square Garden. It's pretty damn cool. I'll post it on my Instagram and my Twitter accounts at Steve Austin BSR. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to ice down some beer. I'm going to drink some margaritas tonight. I'm going to rewatch everything that's been going on leading into this contract signing because I DVR all the shows, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, all that stuff, to keep in tune and touch with everything that's going on. There's been some headaches, hassles, and horse shit over in WWE, and they have flown me in there to straighten things out and get a job done. We will see if I'm able to get that job done. Again, this show drops after that happens. Listen to my conversation. Enjoy it with The Big Show. He'll drop all his social media information. We'll talk about his new show, The Big Show Show, on Netflix, coming up on the build to WrestleMania. And enjoy the conversation. And that's the bottom line, because I said so. Football is back. Between the start of the NFL with all the teams striving for early dominance to the intense competition in the college scene, now is a great time to get in on all the sports betting action. Here's what's coming this weekend in college football. We've got Stanford versus the University of Central Florida. Arizona State takes on the Spartans of Michigan State. An interstate clash between Iowa and Iowa State. And a huge battle with Ohio State up against Indiana. Visit our good friends and exclusive partner at Podcast One, betonline.ag, to take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. Sign up today for a free account at betonline.ag and use the promo code PodcastOne or text BET now to 238-669 to receive a 50% welcome bonus. That's betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts and exclusive partners of Podcast One Sportsnet. What you do in the bedroom is totally up to you and your partner or partners. But if you're not using Trojan brand condoms, you're missing out on a safe and enjoyable experience. Protect yourself from STIs and unintended pregnancy with Trojan condoms. You don't think of condoms without thinking about Trojan, and with over 30 different varieties, there's a lot to choose from. You see how people pick out their condoms at the store. They grab a random box and head to the checkout like a sorry SOB. Well, those days are over. Confidently walk into that store, grab a pack of Trojan condoms, and march up to that register with your head held high. Buying condoms shouldn't be this awkward because it's important. 20 million Americans contract an STI each year, and half are younger than 25. That's why you should go with the number one most trusted condom brand on the market. And it doesn't matter if you're 2 months or 2 years into your relationship. Trojan condoms will be there every step of the way. Now go get your Trojan brand condoms today.
The Steve Austin Show. The Steve Austin Show.
Well, it's Saturday afternoon. It's hotter than hell. I'm over here at 317 Gimmick Street. It's a quarter to 2 p.m. Football season has kicked off. Texas A&M is playing Clemson, and the Big Show comes over in a 4-door pickup truck to record a podcast. God damn, it's good to see you. Now, we've been bullshit for about 30, 40 minutes. Finally, we're rolling sound.
Finally.
Unfortunately, we done talked about all the good shit, so now that was all the kayfabe stuff.
Yeah.
So now we got to talk about stuff on air.
Right, now you'll have to make do with this. So there you go.
Hey, so a Big Show comes over, and he's got this big-ass 4-door, 4-wheel drive Chevy pickup truck, and he parks it all cattywampus in my driveway over at 317. He goes, is it okay to leave here? And some bitch covered up the parking lot, sticking out in the street. I said, hell no, you can't leave there. I said, give me the keys. I'll park it, some bitch. I'm going to bring you in the show here in a minute. I'm going to talk about 40 minutes just solo here. Anyway, and when Big Show got here, and it's not one of them things, God dang, you look a lot bigger on TV. Dude, it looks like you're about 7'7" now. You're trim as hell. But anyway, so I get into the pickup truck, and dude, I got my flip-flops on because it's hotter than shit in here. And you had the seat crank back as far as it could go and lean back as far as it could go. You ain't getting another sumbitch in the back seat because they're going to be hotter than a sumbitch because you got the seat cranked back.
There's no room.
So I'm trying to parallel park this bitch, and the damn mirrors are way up here. Why are you renting a 4-wheel drive 4-door pickup truck in Los Angeles, California? How are you driving it? My daily driver's a Ford Focus, and every time he starts to talk, I'm just cutting him off because I'm messing with
I'm
it.
used to it.
Bring it in.
I'm used to it. It's your show. Whatever you want to do.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah, it's $20 a day from Hertz. That's why I'm renting that, and I can't fit in a Ford Focus.
You're right.
What the hell am I going to do? Wear it to work? God damn it, Steve.
Hey, we talked about cars a long time ago, and I remember way back in the day, you used to be big in those Lincoln Navigators.
Right.
So, but what's your daily driver when you're back here living in Florida?
Believe it or not, I just got rid of, I had a Yukon Denali. Was not happy with it. I think it was an overpriced, lack of a better term, POS.
Man, what year?
It was 2017.
Dude, my 17 rocks. 6.2 liter?
Yeah, you know what? I don't like the way it shifts. The transmission shifts real hinky when it's cold. The down shifts real hinky. I think I just got a bad.
Hey, was that one of them damn survivors that was in a hurricane down there in Texas?
No, it came
mine is like, we got 27,000 miles on that, everything else we lease.
Right.
And of course, my Ford Focus is bought and paid for
right.
my mother-in-law.
Of course.
But that's the only one we bought to go back and forth to Nevada. And I already got 27,000 miles on it. I got the windows tinted, and that son bitch is smooth.
Yeah, I didn't like mine at all.
Okay, so what do you got now?
Right now, I rock my personal is my 2004 Viper truck. I have 19,000 miles on that, and I run that. That's the 6-speed 2-door black Viper truck.
Yeah, but what happened to all the muscle cars and stuff you had?
I still have that. I sold all my CUDA and my Super B. Right now, I have a 66 Hemi Charger that's one of 9, but I can't drive that in Miami. It's problems.
But what do you do with it when you just sit around?
Go out in the garage to sit and look at it and dream about getting somewhere where I can take it out and drive it.
But how do you feel about driving out? Because if you just mentioned all the modern technology that you're having a hard time driving, I mean, those cars aren't the easiest things to get into.
No.
Like, I got a 55 Buick Special,
right,
and the previous owner moved the front bench seat back 6 inches. So, dude, I'm only 6'1", 6'7" with the fro. Been a long time since I had the fro. But anyway.
Me too. Been a long time.
So how do you fit in that damn car?
Great. There's so much room in that 66, just the way she sits. And I put a T5 in it. Transmission, it's almost 700 horses, but it's carbureted, and that's where I screwed up. Because it came originally with 2.4s, and I went with a single Holly that's got about 1,190 CFMs, I think, and half-inch fuel line, and I mean, it'll swallow the gas on it. Like, I'm scared because it's only got like a 14 or 15 gallon gas tank, and shit, that might make it 3 blocks, depending on how you drive it. But I think I'm going to send it back in and put fuel injection on it just so I can drive it and enjoy it.
Hey, what year was the Cuda you got rid of?
71 convertible.
Dude. See, I'm not a ragtop guy, man.
You know what happened to that car, right?
No.
The guy that sold it to in Atlanta called me at Christmas crying because I guess his brother-in-law got drunk, hopped in it, and took it down the road. And it was a 446-pack 4-speed, and if you're not careful...
A 446-pack 4-speed can get away from you.
Yeah, and it did. It got away from him. He was crying and all this other stuff, and I was like, well, sorry, buddy.
Did you just name the number and you had to pay it?
No, he had already bought it.
Oh, he did?
He'd already bought it, yeah, and taken it back, and... he was like, anytime you come to Atlanta, if you want to drive it. And I'm like, I already sold it. I don't want to drive it again.
I'm over it.
Yeah, I'm over it. I was like an ex-girlfriend, It's like, see ya.
Hey, but talk to me about getting rid of it because, like, right now, we moved to Nevada. Well, we have a place in Nevada. Right. I used to have a place in South Texas.
Right.
And then when I was filming Broken Skull Challenge, I had a 45-foot storage container where I kept, a couple of Kawasaki mules, my four-wheeler, some shit out there.
Right.
So I had 2 different locations.
Right.
Okay, that show got canceled 2 years ago. We sold the ranch, and so now just have, I ain't got room for none of that stuff here in Marina Del Rey.
Right.
So all of my stuff, I got a big-ass shop in Nevada, but now most of my stuff is just kind of like stuff. It ain't collector grade.
Well, Old Blue's pretty nice.
No, it's nice, but it's a badass truck. But it's driver. Driver. There's a lot of other nice.
Is that a 3 on the tree or an automatic?
No, that's a 3. It's an automatic, and it's a floor shift. Just because it's just a stick shifter on the floor, but it's automatic. But here's my question to you. There's a couple of things that I've considered getting rid of. One of them being my 95 Ford Bronco. I'm a second owner, 41,000 miles. I said, man, I said, I got a Ram Charger. I said, that thing is iconic. I can't get rid of it. Mm-hmm. And then maybe that Z06, my dog doesn't like to ride in it with me. I can only get one dog in there. My wife doesn't like to get in it. It's white. It's a Z06, 07. Yeah, it's the Mac Daddy.
Yeah, it's a Z06.
Yeah.
Okay, why would you want to get rid of it?
What? I know it. It's like.
Are you hurting for rent money?
It ain't that. It's like when I get in there, it's like I'm the only son of a bitch that will get in there and go riding around. I only hit the back roads.
Okay, then enjoy it. That's what it's for. Nobody rides with me in my Charger. Nobody rides with me in my damn Viper truck the way I drive.
I know, but so how? What was your mindset when you decided to sell in 2 cars? Because those are 2 badass cars.
I had no space for them. I had literally the garage was full of. I had 71 Cuda convertibles, 71 Super B, Plum Crazy Super B, 6-pack, 410 automatic Dana 60 rear end. I had the Viper truck, and I had a Corvette convertible. I had a 2005 convertible Corvette. It wasn't mine. I drove it once, and she caught me doing like 100 on it, and that was the end of mine. It was me and Brian Adams. Remember Brian Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were tooling down the road about 112, and we passed my wife and his wife going to the grocery store. And Brian's 6'7", and then there's me, and there's it was like a pass, and Brian goes, that was best. And I'm like, well, this has been a fun trip. And I ended up selling that because she never drove it. But I just ran out of room. I had that house in Tampa, and I had plenty of garage space. I ran out of room. And then when I moved to Miami, that's the thing about Miami. I got a nice big place, but the garages are just small. I got the Viper truck in there, my Charger, and a couple motorcycles.
Man, I got my Kawasaki buggies. So I got 3.
I wouldn't have any room for that.
Yeah, I got 4 of those. So I got to downsize somewhere. And
I figured, have to?
Well, dude, I'm kind of the mindset when I see all that stuff laying around, all I see is maintenance. And I got battery chargers running everywhere.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You know what? But you're not going to spend money if you want to go enjoy something. You want to jump in that Z06 and feel the turns or feel the flat straightaways, you know, you can do it. Because otherwise what's going to happen is the same thing happened to me. You're going to get rid of it. And then there's going to come a time you're going to start getting antsy, and then you're going to go spend money again to get something else to replace what you had.
And I've done that. This is the fourth one. And I should have kept my 07, but I was out here in L.A. And speaking of things to drive, they're just so low sitting on the ground. And then that's kind of a little bit of a long door for L.A. Yeah. So all of a sudden you kind of scissored in there. And I said, man, F this. And I wish I would have still had that one. Mm-hmm. So I know if I sell it, I will say, it's like when I lived in San Antonio, I had a twin-turbo 911, and it was cool to drive. And those are everyday driver cars. Right. Porsche, they're bulletproof. It ain't like a Ferrari. And then I said, man, I had to get that Cayenne turbo, this SUV when it first came out.
You love that Cayenne turbo. I remember.
It was cool, run like a bitch. My point was the 911 is so iconic. Even if I didn't drive it, I like to walk in my garage and just look at it.
Right.
Like you said about that car a while ago. Yeah. And so I like looking at that Corvette, especially when I'm looking at it from the back end all of a sudden, and I'm thinking maintenance, so... I don't know.
I think you're overbeating yourself up. It sounds like to me that you've got a big enough place out in Nevada. You've got it in a store. You've got it in a shed-like thing, right? You've got a warehouse for it. I wouldn't worry about it, man.
Well, it's like
this. Unless you want to get rid of everything and put a forge and press in there and start making stone cold knives or something, you needed the room, then maybe you get rid of the cars. But
hey, man, when you start talking cars, you spit out a lot of numbers. Where did you get all the numbers and stuff from? Because I talked to Goldberg. He's a big car guy. He's a big numbers guy. So, some other guys that are just numbers guys. Listen to Rogan. He's a big numbers guy.
Right.
Did you study cars or?
I grew up working on them. I grew up bending wrenches at 5 years old. I think from the time I was 5 till I was 8, I was the head part washer. And my job was to clean tools and put them away. Before my dad ever let me around a car, I washed parts, which when you think back now, it's horrible. Here's a kid sitting on a box, with a pan full of gasoline and a parts brush, and I'm scrubbing parts, probably killing all my brain cells. But that's what I did. I cleaned tools and put them away, and I knew what tools went where in the toolbox before I ever started working.
So could you turn a wrench?
Oh, yeah.
Like rebuild motors, trans, stuff like that?
I did that in high school, yeah. Oh, yeah, I built motors the whole 9 yards, yeah.
Or you're measuring, micing them out, and doing all that stuff.
Oh, it depends on what I got to do. Most of the machine work you send off to a machine shop.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I'm getting it bored out, or if I'm getting the heads replaned, or valves seated, or anything like that. But putting it together and running it, lining the cam up, all that stuff, yeah.
See, it sounds like your dad is the guy I always wanted to be. The dude that can just build anything. Like you said, brick, masonry, motors, whatever. Like my brother-in-law, he's a trained mechanic. He kept the Nevada bus fleet there in Reno afloat for 30 years. Mm-hmm. And he's that guy. He was trained in transmissions. He's a certified diesel mechanic.
Right.
He knows the whole state of Nevada like the back of his hand. He can build a house. He's got a cabin up there an area where they have Burning Man.
Just a different era of those guys that could do that.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm the guy that just tears shit up. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure a lot of people live vicariously through the cool shit that I got a chance to do on Monday Night Raw or traveling around the world with a bunch of idiots. And when I say that, I mean with affection. You know the road.
Yeah, it is what it is. You get some of the most insane characters ever on the road. But yeah, I always envied my dad because there's nothing my dad couldn't do. Oh, okay, well, we need to put a new eave on the house. He'd go buy some lumber, break out his skill saw, and
I'm calling dudes up. I'm calling cats and getting bids. He's the guy that does it and just starts. We need to do it. I'm going to do it.
My problem is I know how to do all that stuff, but I get lazy. Like I had a vacation a couple years ago when I was doing that title run with Mark Henry. He had taken me out, so I had for the first time ever, I had 3 weeks at home and not actually being hurt. So I was like, hell, I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to have fun. Next thing I know, there's 72 light fixtures that show up on the front driveway dropped off by Lowe's because all the light fixtures around the house on the walkways are these big light fixtures around the house in Miami, and they all got to be taken down and rewired because of the salt air had rusted out some of the fixtures. So I spent 3 weeks on a damn ladder changing light fixtures around the house, around the wall, on the outside. So I didn't.
Now, who had ordered those? Your illustrious wife, Bess, or had you got drunk and decided you was going to fix something
I sure as hell
and got online?
No, I sure as hell wouldn't do it. But somebody knows that I can do electrical work and knew I was going to be home and put the order in, you know.
See, and that's one of the things that's on a high priority list of things I don't F with. Electricity. 110, it'll bite you a little bit. 220.
Yeah, 220 will bite.
That's probably how I lost my hair. I've been to an extension cord.
Yeah.
I do not mess with electricity.
My grandfather was, I grew up wiring stoves with him. Like, I would work every summer as a kid because I loved him so much. He was an electrician, 50, 60 years in South Carolina. So I would go with him, and he would drink a bottle of Seagram 7 a day. Okay, like get up in the morning. Yeah, get up in the morning. He'd have 2 fried eggs and a glass of buttermilk.
Yep.
We'd drive to the post office.
Breakfast of champions.
Yeah. Drive to the post office. Drive to the liquor store, he'd get a bottle of the Seagrams. He smoked those Tampa Nugget cigars with a plastic tip and had a fedora, okay? He'd sit there in the shop and had the little plastic cups he'd drink his whiskey in at Seagrams, and I'd wire a stove, and he'd just sit there and tell me what to do. I'd wire a stove, I'd wire a lamp, all that stuff, you know what I mean? It was crazy, you know, and I was his hands at 10, 11 years old. You know, and he'd just sit there and tell me what, and then I would drive us home by the end of the day because he was blitzkrieged because he'd wipe that whole bottle out, you know. I'd get a burger at lunch at the burger stand next door. You know, he wouldn't eat.
What, did that ever transfer to you as far as drinking at an early age?
No, it did just the opposite for me. Like, there was always alcohol in my house. Like, I can remember cutting the grass and going in and having a beer. You know, on a hot day I'd have a cold beer, but I never...
That's about it.
Yeah, I was never, if it was hot, I'd have a cold beer just because, you know, it was either a cold beer or water. If we had a Coca-Cola in the house, it was gone.
Nobody drank water back in the day. Nowadays, dude, I drink a gallon of water a day, minimum. But back in the day, nobody drank water because if you did, you drank it out of a water hose.
Yeah, I drank out of a water hose or I drank out of the faucet because we had water. My parents were coffee drinkers.
Yeah.
So they drank coffee, breakfast, lunch, supper. They had coffee all day long. Well, as a kid, like, if there was a 6-pack of Coca-Cola in the fridge, my old man treated that like it was the Holy Grail. He might not touch it for 4 months, but if he wants to have a cold Coca-Cola, there damn sure better be one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I had to ration. You know what I mean? Like, I'd drink my 5 up. Yeah. In like the first week, but I had to leave that one just because God forbid. Yeah. God forbid if he went to their fridge for a cold Coca-Cola and it wasn't there, you know, it was the end of the world. So.
Going back to your shooting stories from when you started shooting back in the day with that was your grandfather or your dad?
My dad.
Dad, out there spotlighting, shooting rats at the junkyard. Right. Man, we used to go to junkyard in Edna. That's what we call it, junkyard. And we'd back our truck up and have all kinds of shit in the back, and we're unloading it. And that was our chance. We'd go over there and we'd pick up rocks. And, you know, there's bottles out there, and we're throwing rocks at bottles. I mean, dude, like taking us to the junkyard, once we unloaded the truck.
It was free for all.
Yeah, Dad would let us, you know, hang out about 15, 20 minutes, and that was our entertainment.
I got one of the worst literal beatings of my life was in a junkyard.
Why?
Because I was 10. I was running around slapping windshields and breaking them because I had a big old set of meat paws. Yeah. And I found I could slap a windshield and break him. And my old man literally lost his shit because I was breaking perfectly good windshields that people could use.
Well, dude, how big were you then when you were breaking windshields?
6'1", 6'2", probably. About 215, 20 pounds. So I was like a big mongoloid out there.
Hey, dude, when it came time, when you started hitting that growth spurt and... you lost your dad at an early age, right?
I lost my dad at 20. My dad at 20.
But before you hit that 20, when you were still under his roof, when all of a sudden you start growing like a friggin' weed, how does he go about disciplining you?
My old man was 6'5", about 270, and looked like Bluto from Popeye.
So he had you.
He had big, meaty forearms. Like, as a kids, we used to make him, when we'd all ride to the hardware store with him, like, he was going to the hardware store, all us kids ride in the back of the truck, we'd pile in, you know.
Yeah, that's the way it was.
And...
no safety,
hanging out the truck, you know, and we'd get him those cheap 99-cent pliers. We'd get him to break them because he could break them with his hand. He'd squeeze them and break them, and he could bend horseshoes and shit. I mean, he's
stout.
He was stout, you know. Like, I come from honest stock, and he was just, I a man's man back then, and he rolled his own cigarettes for years. Like, I had friends that were older that smoked weed, and they were like, God, if your dad could roll a joint. I said, you go ask him. They're like, no, I'm not going to do that. But, he'd roll a cigarette one-handed, and it would be just as round as...
It was an art form.
It was an art form.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, I'd be fascinated watching him. But I was 13, and I was 6'5", 235. And I had already whipped up a couple of high school kids. And I was sitting on the coffee table. My mom was out of town, and he was studying for a mechanics test. And I was sitting on the coffee table watching TV, which was automatic no, but he let it slide because it's just us boys at home. And I was supposed to rake the backyard. And there's nothing I hated more, anything in my life, than raking leaves. We had a pecan tree, an oak tree, and a giant pine tree in the yard, and it was just nonstop, man. I would have a pile of leaves 8 foot high, 30 feet long every damn week. And I hated it. I would break rake handles just so I could get away for a Saturday, And then he bought like 30 rake handles, so break all you want. They'll just put another rake handle on. So he eliminated that. So I remember he said, you rake the leaves? And I looked over my shoulder and went, pfft, and looked back. And don't ask me why I did it. I have no idea why I did it. But, you go through that age where you think you're...
I got one for you. Keep going.
So, and then I heard his chair scoot back real quick, and he came over. And the second dumbest thing I did is I stood up and I bowed my chest out like a big guinea rooster. Like, and I'm looking him right in the eye. And then there was a bright light and a sound like you dropped a gallon of milk on the sidewalk. And I woke up with a bag of frozen peas on my face. Between the couch and I didn't know that you could go out that quick. I didn't know you could get hit that fast. Like in the schoolyard, we pushed chests a little bit,
Yeah. Display.
There's a display. There was no displaying. The lights got turned out that quick, and I was stunned by it. I wasn't mad or upset. I was just like, what the hell happened? I mean, I had a nice big black shiner, the whole deal, and my mother had come home. And my mother just shook her head, and she was like, why did you do that? I said, what did I do? I don't know. What happened? Like there was all the sauce that was in my talking. Dad knocked all the sauce out of me. It was funny because he wasn't there when I woke up. So later on, he was my best friend because that knocked all the stupid out of me. I know people don't understand that, but when I was young, I was headstrong, tremendous athlete, bigger than any two men walking around, and was starting to know it. And was starting to feel it.
You starting to believe your own shit.
I was starting to believe my own gimmick. Yeah. Like, because I'd whip up a couple of high school kids at the lake house, and I'd whip him and another friend. Like,
Word started traveling.
I wasn't the guy to, you know what I mean? And I started looking for trouble. Like, somebody'd make a comment. I took it a lot further. I didn't have any humility. And I think that was the best thing that ever could have happened to me for my personality, because it made me realize at an early age, my dad used to tell me, he says, I don't care how big you are, how bad you are. He says, somewhere there's somebody bigger and badder. Don't ever forget that. And he proved it. And we became best friends after that. I would go out every Friday night before I went out with my friends. I would go and shoot pool with my dad at this place called the Blind Pig in Wagner, South Carolina. And we would shoot pool till about 8:30 or 9, and then he would take the truck and go home, and I'd stay out with my friends on Friday. But I told him, I'll catch up with you about 9. I said, I'm out with my old man shooting pool. And they got to be all my friends started coming and hanging out and shooting pool with my old man. But when they play the jukebox, they play Tush by ZZ Top.
Yeah.
My old man hated it. He'd take his cigarette papers and wad them up and shove them in his ears for like earplugs because, he didn't like that. Didn't have any soul to it. He liked big band music. And
did you have a game?
The pool game?
Yeah.
Not as good as his, but I had a pretty good one. His game was all right. The only thing I could start to mess with him off is if the light was bad, he had bifocals, and he'd sit there and start adjusting his bifocals and get pissed. But
man, I had a pretty good game if I'm just shooting a straight pool, just trying to shoot a ball in, but I could never set up my next shot. And of course, that's That's the biggest part of pool is setting up your next shot.
Yeah.
So I'm just focusing on making one ball, but I'm not doing my follow-up. So I didn't have really any English or nothing like that. So, and of course, then you start playing a little bit of pool. You think, hey, I'm getting pretty good at this. So I'll go get me one of them sticks you screw together.
Yeah.
So I spent
Did you
$100.
get a little case to carry in?
Yeah. And you look like a friggin' dick going in the pool hall, screwing your stick together.
Yeah.
And here comes some dude all wrangled up, pulls off the crookedest stick on the wall and just commences to just eating everybody's quarters up, running through everybody. So I was like, okay, after I bought my one stick, I was kind of done with it.
Yeah.
Hey, but going back before your dad had that come to Jesus meeting with you, and you'd started feeling your oats a little bit. My dad had this. My dad played football at Rice University. It's in Houston, Texas.
Yep.
It's an academic university, but back then they were good. They were Southwest Conference contenders. And my dad was on a football scholarship, and my dad was about 6'1", 6'2", and, primed up, give or take about 200 pounds.
But a different generation. He was a lot harder than anybody his age now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Was a dead ringer for Burt Reynolds. So he's a good-looking cat, and he was our adopted father. He adopted Scott, me, and Kevin, and had Jeff and Jenny with my mom. But anyway, there was no step in our family. We was just family. But we'd be out there in the yard, roughhousing, playing football and stuff like that. And something happened. My older brother, Scott, was 2 years older than me, and he's still 2 years older than me. And all of a sudden, he was at the stage you was at. And he figured, just like you said, he had to bow up.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. My dad, he looked at him and he goes, "God damn it, boy, you want to try me?" And he didn't even say it that loud.
But he was nice enough to give him a warning. I never got a warning.
Oh, you never got a warning, but I'm just saying, before you got to that no warning spot, dads, specifically my dad, have this come to Jesus tone in their voice where he ain't got to talk real loud, but when he says something, you listen and he could just look at you. And it's not anything forced. You just look at you, "God damn it, boy, you want to try me?"
Yeah.
And my brother immediately took the air out of his chest, bowed down, and said, "No, sir." Yeah. And I'll never forget it. We used to go to church, go to Presbyterian church every Sunday, and my dad would sit at the end of the pew. My mom would sit beside him, and of course, there was 5 of us kids sitting down the pew. And nobody wanted to sit next to my mom because my dad had his arm on the back of that pew.
And he flicked you in the back of the head?
Yeah, so we're out there fucking around, not listening to the preacher. And so whoever was sitting next to my mother was in he had that middle finger thump. We called it the thump.
Yeah.
And boy, and it didn't matter because people behind, they could see exactly what was going on. Us kids in there cutting up.
He didn't give a shit.
You get one thump from my dad, that's all you needed for the year.
Yeah. My old man had a real deep voice, kind of like James Earl Jones. He had one of those voices that was so deep it resonated through the house, and he could whistle so loud. It would separate your eardrums, And I can remember as a kid, he'd say my name, and I'd instantly run through, what did I light on fire? What did I break? What did I eat? You know what I mean? Did I what tools did I took out to build the fort and not bring back? You'd run through that whole list, and he's just calling me for supper. But, it was he had 2 hats his whole life that I knew him. For 20 years that I was on this earth, he had 2 hats.
Really?
He had a Levi Garrett hat, black and white hat. It was a summer hat.
Yep.
It was that white mesh in the back.
Yeah.
And then he had a denim Peterbilt hat. Those are the 2 hats he had. And each one of them had a little silver button at the top of that hat. And man, he could walk so quiet. I snuck off in the woods one time, and I tell this story all the time. I snuck off in the woods one time in South Carolina from the house, and I went a little bit further than I thought I was. I was exploring. When you're in the country, you do that.
Yeah.
And I found this old house, 1-room shack. God knows how old it was. And there was a little statue in the window. So I'm kicking the side of the house, trying to make the statue fall out the window because I'm rocking the whole house. I didn't want to break the window. I'm just kicking the house, see if I can make it fall. And I remember that hat hit me in the back of the head so hard my eyes started watering. It was stinging. And my defense was, I'm not breaking the window. I'm kicking the house to make the statue move. This is around December, and he says, "Come here, you numbskull. I want to show you something." Because he was from Maine, so he had different numbskull. Tougher than a bag of hammers and numbskull. He says, "Come here, you numbskull. I want to show you something." The whole back of that house is one of the largest natural beehive preserves.
Oh.
The whole back of that shack is floor to roof was a beehive. Well, that's where he got our honey for the house.
Right.
And this is just a dumbass kid, 10 years old, kicking the side of the house. Lucky it was cold and those bees were a little lethargic. Otherwise, a couple billion would have come around and lit me up like 4th of July.
Yeah, but it reminds me of a scene out of Sanford and Son when Fred Sanford would tell him, Mike, you big dummy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. My dad used to tell me I'd get lost in a one-door outhouse because he would give me directions. He said, yeah, you go.
I ain't heard that one.
He goes, you go north about 4.5 clicks and then go east. I'm like, can you tell me right or left? He said, you don't know your east, north, and west? I said, no, I'm not a pilot. He goes, you get lost in a one-door shithouse. That was his thing. I'm just like, I still don't get north, east, south, and west. Just right or left.
Dude, I've been riding out there in Nevada, and I'm pretty good in the brush country out there in South Texas. For some reason, my bearings are a lot better. I've been out there riding my buggies in Nevada. The cool thing about Nevada is 86% of it is public land. So, I can ride damn near anywhere.
Right.
I ride 2.5 miles down the road, and I'm in BLM. All of a sudden, I'm riding just down the roads, and I'll take some trails. And you ride 30, 40 miles, and you're spinning around like this and going in every different direction.
Yeah.
I ain't marking no waypoints. I ain't got no GPS. I ain't got nothing. And then, the ridge that you were looking at one point when you could see the ridge was one thing. But when you lose that one visual marker you had, it's like, dude, I'm shit out of luck. So I guess I ain't run out of gas yet. I ain't had a flat tire that I couldn't get back yet. So, I ain't got lost. I'm sitting here talking to you. We're doing a podcast, but sometimes when you're out there on your own, I'm like, man, dude, I don't know what's up.
I did that. I learned when I have a compass where I take off from, I remember my heading because I was doing a lot of boating in Tampa. And I go out 15, 20 miles in the Gulf of Mexico. It's 28 feet of water, drop anchor, have a little bit of fun. You got to know where you're coming back because you get out that far in the water, you got to remember, all right, well, I came out this way. I need to come back this way, So.
Dude, we grew up fishing down there in South Texas in Port O'Connor. That's where we always went.
Right.
And I've been riding with my dad out there my whole life until, I stopped going down there a few years ago. And he kind of stopped fishing. He's getting on up there. And we would go out there, and sometimes we'd go out floundering at night. And you come back, and you're following those red and green lights in the water.
Yeah.
Every now and then he would get turned around, but he always found his way back. And he knew the jetties, the back bay, the Gulf. He knew it like the back of his hand. If he'd have put me behind the damn wheel and said, all right, Stephen, take us home, I'm shit out of luck.
Yeah.
And just by osmosis or just by being a passenger, I always had my head up my ass anyway. I was a damn kid.
How many times are you just thinking about something else and going along for the ride and wishing the ride was done?
Yeah, but how many times have you ridden with somebody somewhere when you're riding shotgun to this side or whatever, and it comes time for you to do it, and you ain't been paying attention because you hadn't been driving it? Driving it and learning it is a whole lot different than riding and trying to learn it, especially when you got your head up your ass.
I always hated those guys that could drive someplace one time and know it every time.
Oh, yeah.
Billy Gunn.
Oh, yeah.
I hate him.
Yeah.
He goes one time, one place knows it. Be in a car with him and said, hey, we need to get a map. No, I know where we're going. He know where the gym was, where the food was.
Billy's probably one of my favorite travel partners that I've ever had. I would pick him up at the airport, or he would pick me up at the airport. He'd have the rental car. He'd have my bag of Red Man sitting in the passenger seat back when I chewed.
Yeah.
Have me a bottle of water so I could, drink that or pour it out and have something to spit in.
Yeah.
He's one to turn me on to Daryl Singletary.
Yeah.
And above and beyond anything, he was one of the safest drivers I'd ever ridden with because, I love McFoley to death. He's one of my best friends and a longtime travel partner, and a guy I respect to the highest degree. Bad wheelman, Diamond Dallas Page.
Terrible.
Love him. Horrible wheelman.
Dallas drove us 75. I got cracked in the head with a wooden chair by Scott Steiner. They said, we're going to re-glue the chair with some weak glue so the chair will come apart. They re-glued it with Elmer's. Kevin Sullivan, that ribbon prick. They re-glued, one of those wooden folding chairs with the slats.
Dude, those were a shoot.
Those were shoot, and it was Steiner and Luger and Rick were supposed to come and attack me because I was beating up Sting, I think, somewhere. And Steiner came in, and you remember, Scotty don't pull no punches. No. He swung that wooden chair like he was picked up speed through Nebraska, started turning a little bit more through Colorado, and brought that son of a bitch right down on my head in Alabama. And it hit so hard that Rick and Luger stopped, and Scotty stopped and looked, because that shit, instead of going pow and breaking apart, it went clunk, and about an 1.5 inch piece broke off, and my eyeballs got real big, and Scotty goes, shit, sorry. He goes, shit, sorry. And then I grabbed the chair, and he skedaddled. So the big baby face Abe turned into a giant with a chair. I came back looking for Kelton Sullivan. He'd already left. Thought it was a big ribbon fun experience. Jesus. And then I'm in the car, and Dallas has to drive, because I did all our driving, because Dallas wanted to get in the car, and I love him, but Dallas wanted to get in the car because he always recorded his matches.
Yeah.
Want to know they had the biggest pop, the best match. And I would tell him that in the car. I said, you had the biggest pop, you had the best match. Now, where are we going? Because he was supposed to be the navigator, tell us where we're going. So I can't drive because I got, a lump on the side of my head like Bugs Bunny. I'm like that lion from Bugs Bunny. I got this lump coming out the side of my head. So Dallas is driving. He's got 14 ice bags on, his elbows, his neck, his knees. He's got his DVD player in the dash so he can see his match and drive. And we're supposed to go into Ohio. And we're driving along. I'm like, damn, Dallas, we only have like 120 miles, and we've been driving 2 hours. He had driven the wrong way. So we drove and he stopped and checked the map. Because we didn't have GPS back then, we had a map.
Road Atlas or one of them fold-out maps. We all had them.
I had a Road Atlas. I broke one of those out on the road. Was it just this last year I was on tour? I had an Atlas. And you go through with a ruler and you plan your trip out. Oh, okay, well, I'll stop here and maybe stay in this town. I know this town. And, how many miles is it? Because I'm not going to drive straight through on a 300-mile trip. I'm going to drive halfway, get a good bite to eat, good gym in this town, then I'll head in. Next one. So one of the guys is Big Cass. Walks to the locker and goes, holy shit, is that an Atlas? Like I brought out a sextant to navigate the stars or something, I'm like, yeah. He says, well, that's what you got, an iPhone. I'm saying, okay, we're in Pennsylvania going through the mountains. What happens if the iPhone don't get any signal? Then what? You don't know where you're supposed to. I like to have a map just for my own assurances.
Yeah, but going back to DDP for a second, I was, I recorded many of those first matches that he had. He goes, bro, will you record? Yeah, man, I'll record you. Yeah. And a lot of times me and Pillman would be back there, and we'd be doing color commentary while we're watching his match. And Dallas was so frugal back in the day because we all had to be frugal because nobody had no money.
Right.
And he would record over, each match, after he watched it, he'd record over it. And he said to this day, if he'd have had all those matches that me and Pillman had laid color commentary on,
priceless material.
He'd have gold.
Yeah.
But anyway, back then, so when you started riding with him, that was newer technology when you had the DVD players or the gimmick players you could put on I said, on the dash or whatever. Because back in the day, we'd have to go coax cable to the back of the TV in the hotel. And a lot of times they had them things all cinched down because they didn't want nobody rigging with them.
Yeah.
So we'd have to,
you carried a pair of pliers.
But you got to get the TV rigged up so we could watch his match so everybody could start drinking beer and go to sleep. But I'll be damned, you had to watch his match and critique him on it. So anyway, going back to his driving skills, none. I don't know. And Dallas, I love you.
Punches, man. Damn.
And he lived out here in L.A. for many years, and he's living in Smyrna now, and he's been getting along just fine. But I don't trust him to drive me nowhere. And here's the thing. As a navigator, a lot of times he got the shotgun seat.
Right.
As you know, shotgun seat is usually reserved for, if you're not driving, the shotgun is for the guy with the most seniority in the business or most experience.
Right.
But by default, since Page was the world's tallest 6'4" guy, he'd grab a couple.
I haven't heard that in years. Yeah. World's tallest 6, because he'd have that seat laid back like he was 6'10", like he was Kevin Nash.
That's what we called him, the world's tallest 6'4" guy. I don't know whether it was me or Raven or somebody that came up with that nickname, but that's what we called him.
Yeah. God.
So there we, he's got that seat cranked back, and it's like he didn't even consider the etiquette, because when you're riding shotgun, you know there's a protocol. This is how a car works when you're in the wrestling business. Senior guy or a guy who knows where he's going has got the wheel. A safe guy. Guy riding beside you, you're navigating.
Right.
You ain't allowed to go to sleep.
Right.
You're there to help the driver out with anything, and if you go to sleep, your ass is going to be ribbed, popped, whatever. Yeah. You don't go to sleep on your driver.
You don't sleep on the driver. You're there to entertain the driver, tell him jokes, keep him awake, let him know upcoming turn.
Yeah.
If you're in the back seat, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, so you might be calling out, hey man, restaurant options up ahead, or how's everybody feeling? Okay, and then normally whoever's driving got control of the radio. Always. So that's the way it goes. Me and Billy Gunn used to fight over that damn thing. God damn that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I love traveling with him.
Yeah.
So we got a couple of veterans stuffed in the back because we got the world's tallest 6'4" guy. I'm driving, and even though Paige was older, he was further down on greener in the business. So there I was. I was just established veteran. So he's supposed to be navigating. I know where I'm going. Him reading the map, and I'm sitting there. I know where we're going. It's about a 150-mile trip. We end up lost because I'm listening to Paige going, bro, I'm telling you. And so we end up
lack confidence.
And there is nothing worse. And one of my biggest pet peeves in city traffic is people not using their blinkers. I hate that. My biggest pet peeve of all, when you're traveling, and especially when you're destination oriented and you have a major responsibility because it's your job and you're supposed to be a professional and you're supposed to be on time, if not early. I recommend being early, and you have to backtrack because you went the wrong direction. And when you go 125 miles south, when you need to be going north and you've got to redrive that is the sinkingest, worst, shitty feeling in the history of being on the road.
You're just going over pavement you've already gone over, and you got to redo it. Yeah, that's what happened that night. I had to jump. I got so mad, and I jumped in the passenger seat, and the old Cadillacs back then, the governor would cut off at 112, so I set it at 100.
Those little North Stars.
North Stars, they were nice, man. They would float along.
Damn right.
I about gave poor Gene Okerlund a heart attack one night. We left that TV taping up in Rome, Georgia, and we stopped at the Atlanta Omni and made it to Delta in 55 minutes. He sits on the plane, he has a drink, he's about 3 shades of white, and he says, if I'm ever in a hurry to go to hell, I know who has to drive. I put that caddy at 111 the whole way, and he never said a word all the way. Went to the Omni. The bellman had his hanging jacket for him, his folding bag, threw it right in the car, right to Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, dropped the car from where at Delta. We're sitting out. We checked in at Delta at 55 minutes from Rome, Georgia, and stopped at the Omni.
I'll never forget riding in the back seat. I've told the story many times, so I won't go long with it. But riding, this is when Cadillac has been around for a long time.
Right.
But it was in the early 90s when they came out with that North Star V8.
Well, that was a boss back
all of a sudden, that's what, once you started making money, we were renting LeSabres, we were Corsicas, all that shit, especially when you're doing a drop car.
Right.
But once you start making a little bit of money, or you've got some power in that damn car, you're either going to Lincoln Town car or you go on North Star V8 and Cadillac. And when the North Star came out, it was all Cadillac. If the rental place carried those, so riding there, I was in the back seat. Harley race. 8-time world champion. He's driving. Dude, we're running 100. Vader's riding shotgun. Cooler's right down there by his legs or sitting on the front seat. And his job was every time Harley finished a beer, Leon was to have him one popped open, turn in the correct direction to hand to Harley. And that was just the gospel and how it was. And that's how we rode back in. But those North Stars were the shit. And I've told this story. I'll tell you one more before I want to talk about Mark Henry and some of the strongest guys you've ever worked with. I just came in territory in WCW. Barry Windham looks over at me. I'm like a little damn little kid just lost in this. Right. I'm the new kid in school, right? Yeah, I'm a new guy in the territory. Windham, I know.
Right, yeah.
And he sees that. He has no reason to give a shit about this new blonde-headed kid come in from USWA. Ain't got the pot to piss in, got the neon orange Nike gimmick duffel bag. And he goes, hey, kid, who you riding with? I said, man, this is Barry friggin' Windham, and he was tight with Pee Wee. Referee. And I said, man, I was just going to get my rental car and get on to the building. He goes, jump in with us. Dude, when Barry Windham, first of all, takes you under his wing,
you do what he said.
Yeah. And man, he was like the veteran's veteran.
Coolest dude to ever walk the planet.
Always had the atlas, never got lost, knew the ways of the world, the road, the ring, everything.
Yeah.
And never sold nothing. And if he was at a night of heavy drinking and he could go, never sold it the next day. And he'd light up the, whoever he was working in the ring with.
30, 40 minutes, not a problem.
Oh, yeah. So he goes, kid, you want to drive? North Star V8 Cadillac. Paul, up until that time, this is 92, 91, 92, whatever, and I'd never been in a Cadillac, much less driven one.
Yeah, so
we're going down the road, and all of a sudden, it wasn't like, these days they got the gauges everywhere, but still, I was so overwhelmed with the fact that I got my wheels on a 10 and 2 on a Cadillac V8 North Star 4-door. Pee-wee's in the back. Barry's riding shotgun because he wanted me to drive. And, of course, he's flicking through a hot rod magazine. Is it a hot rod magazine or a four-wheel drive?
Right.
I'm looking at all the damn controls on the dash. I run off the road. I'm in a left-hand lane. It's a 2-lane highway. I correct. I come back. We get a little sideways. And I almost shit myself, because I almost run off the road. And Barry just looks over at me from his magazine. Kid, you all right? Yeah, man, I'm good. But he didn't sell shit. You got a kid, you okay?
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, enough about
I had an apartment in Atlanta when I first moved there, and Barry Windham had shared that apartment with...
what was his gimmick?
His dad was the big promoter in Tampa.
Oh, yeah, Mike Graham.
Graham. That's it, Mike Graham. Well, Mike Graham was supposed to be my roommate when I first started WCW.
Jesus.
And I came home from wrestling WCW training practice, and Mike is standing there in his fucking cowboy boots and his underwear with a fucking bottle of Jack Daniels, yelling at somebody on the phone, pretty hot and heated.
Yeah.
So whatever it was, he left. So I had this big apartment there behind Main Event in La Park all by myself. And there was this real cool pair of size 14 cowboy boots with cactuses on them and neon colors and purple and green. And, okay, well, I'll put these up. These obviously weren't Mike's because Mike was a little fella, And I'm sitting there one day and there's a knock at the door and it's Barry Windham, And I grew up watching him. Huge fan of Barry Windham, He was so cool and chill. And how you doing, giant, the whole deal. Very polite to me. He says, I left some boots here. You think I can pick them up? I said, yes, sir, whatever you need. I went and grabbed it and brought it back. He goes, all right, thank you, man. Good luck. Keep him between the ditches. And he left. But I was just like, damn, it was like Clint Eastwood came and visited me or something because he was so cool. I ran into him a couple times throughout the years, but he's always just been like the coolest dude. Like at that time, I was like, that's a dude I want to hang with.
All right, to all my gamers out there, it's time to raise some hell and make some mayhem. Shoot and loot your way through mayhem fueled adventure in Borderlands 3 for the PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Borderlands 3 features all new characters, over 1 billion guns and weapons, and a ridiculous amount of customization. Play solo or with your friends to take on insane enemies, score loads of loot, and save the galaxy from a fanatical threat. Mayhem is coming September 13th on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Pre-order now at Borderlands.com. Rated M for mature.
ESPN's Woody Page is putting down the chalkboard and picking up the mic for the Woody Page podcast on PodcastOne.
You came to me and said, I'm thinking about taking this job with the NFL Network.
Yeah.
What do you think? And I said, take it because you can always come back to newspapers.
And I could tell you, Jim Sacamano, who was a vice president with the Broncos, I remember going to him, and he looked at me like I was crazy. He's like, you must stay.
Drop the chalk and download new episodes of the Woody Page podcast every week on Apple Podcasts and PodcastOne.
This is the Steve Austin Show.
To continue on about wrestling, but to shift gears, I got a chance to go down to Austin, Texas, and I reconnected with a family member, and I was checking out a couple of cars down there, and Mark Henry had shot me a text, and he goes, hey, man, you want to talk to Earl Campbell? And I'd like, who is this? He goes, it's Mark Henry. I said, of course, I'd love to. Well, Earl wasn't going to be in town, so I was going to miss him. But I said, dude, I'm coming to Austin. I said, I'd love for you to be on my podcast. He goes, sure, I'll be on your podcast. So anyway, I flew down to Austin, Texas, stayed at a hotel that he recommended for me. And then the next day I showed up at his studio. He just finished doing his Busted Open Radio with David LaGreca. They had a wonderful conversation, had me on there. And then I started talking with the dude. And I told him, I said, man, Mark, this trip happened very quickly. I said, I tried to do my homework on you. But, dude, when you open up a can of research on Mark Henry, when you start look way at a 20-year run and then an outstanding run, that put him in the Hall of Fame, and then look at everything he accomplished from a strength perspective and then his years growing up, I start talking to him and we just start freewheeling. I had notebooks, pages of notes, but it just turned into a conversation. Yeah. And it was one of my favorite conversations I've ever had. And because he was just started dropping so much knowledge on me, people don't understand how deep and intelligent Mark Henry is. And because you think, okay, World's Strongest Man, it's a good wrestling gimmick.
All those stupid gimmicks.
It's a shoot.
Yeah, the strongest man's a shoot, but you think about the gimmicks with, the hand being delivered and sexual chocolate and all the stuff he's done. But you don't realize what a good human Mark is and how many people he knows and how many things he does. And he knows everybody in every town. And, oh, hey, man, we're going to run by this place and we'll grab some barbecue. And, he walks in like he's family, like he built the place, and sure enough, the food's good. I love that cat. I've spent so much time with him, just, him growing up. And we've had similar situations growing up and gone through similar things, both being big, strong guys. Him a lot stronger than me. But
you put him in the Hall of Fame, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's funny. You know how nice he looked that night at the Hall of Fame? Did you see how crappy I looked? I was going to go all black. I had a nice custom Robert Graham black shirt. I was going to go black tux, black shirt, black tie. Big show, a little styling. And I had a backup white shirt just in case something happened because, you always bring a spare pair of trunks. You always bring a spare shirt. He forgot his tux shirt that night. So I could have gave him that ugly-ass white one that I had. But because I'm his friend, I said, hey, man, it's your night. It's about you. You wear the black shirt. So then I had this white shirt, and I had the wrong bow tie for it. I got Rock's mom trying to help me thread the bow tie through, and this shirt that I had was my tuck shirt when I was 500 pounds. So my neck is swimming in the collar. The bow tie don't fit. It looked like I stole it out of my dad's closet or something. It doesn't fit. Mark looks sharp. I said, hey, man, just, make sure you get me that shirt back. Because I saw him the next day, he goes, what shirt? I'm like, you son of a bitch. I had to go buy me another Robert Graham shirt.
It is so funny that you bring up that story because prior to, Mark was on a podcast 3 or 4 months ago.
Right.
So I did all the research that I could. Right. One of the things is watching him go into the Hall of Fame. I also watched the special that WWE did on him. And so I saw you up there doing your speech. And I was like, now that you mention it, you did look like shit.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it, some bitch. I knew it, too, but it wasn't about me. I wasn't going to the Hall of Fame. It was about my friend,
But I'd seen you look so much better. Like, Big Show looked kind of fucked up, man.
Yeah, well, he's swimming in that shirt. Has he got cancer or something? Jesus.
Okay, the question I wanted to ask you.
Right.
Because you're a giant. I remember that one time we was over in Europe, in Germany or somewhere, and you and me hit a loop together.
Yeah, we got about 3 weeks of working. We worked 2 weeks in Europe, then we got about a week of working dart matches, and then I got shipped off to Lesnar. I went to Lesnar.
But I'm just saying.
I tell everybody all the time, you're the one that made it click for me. It has to click for somebody. It has to click for all. But you're the one that made it click for me, and I always give credit to that, and thank you for that.
So, and like when we were traveling around, it was cool traveling with you because, dude, at the time, I was probably one of the hottest people on 2 feet in the world. But nobody gave a shit because I was traveling with you.
Oh, that was that trip in Europe?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah, that was a good time. We weren't working together, but...
we were traveling together.
We were traveling together, and they had that charter, and they kept flying everybody back to London, connecting Heathrow, and going... And I was telling you, hey, man, for $45, we can get a direct, leave an hour and a half later and get in 2 hours earlier, I was down with it. And we were down, and I remember coming up to the gate, and over there, you can't board early unless you're injured. So, and the last thing I want to do is get stuck next to somebody in the wrong seat. So I come up to the gate, and you got your little blue thing where you've already worked your gimmick. So I come around the corner, and I already knew the deal. I had a limp and a drag and a wince. And the lady right away just hands me the blue thing, and I'm going to sit down. And you said to me, you said, damn, kid, that limp and drag's pretty good, but that wince is money.
Kid could sell his ass off. So into the ring. Out of all the people you work, I mean, going back to my point, you know, I've never really worked out together, and I've seen you when you really got in shape, when you was really trying to get back in shape, and you got really lean, and you're in good shape now. But I mean, this when you're really hitting it hard, and you're just a strong human being because, dude, you're a giant.
Yeah.
As far as you working with guys in the ring, how was working with Mark from a strength standpoint? Because I want to bring Goldberg into play because I saw, the jackhammer, that stuff, Lesnar, who's so explosive. But give me kind of your top 3, 5, and I know Mark has got to be extremely high on the list. And how did it feel with that guy picking your ass up?
When Mark Henry picked me up, it was humbling. It was the best way because Mark handled me. I'm not a guy that gets handled.
Gotcha.
I'm a load. No way. Even though
but that's the difference between someone getting you up and someone handling you.
Goldberg, I was a lot lighter than and a lot more athletic, and nothing hurt, and I was able to do a lot of that work for Bill. Not saying that Bill wasn't strong because Bill had to stack that base and hold it. Cena, probably, I got to give credit for all around. Cena has always been like a piston in an engine block. Because that kid is so stable, so strong.
Agreed. When
he snatches me up, and he would stumble like Lesnar. Lesnar does that to me all the time, I think, just to scare the hell out of me because he knows I'm squawking when I'm up there. And I think he just loves to do that because Brock will stumble all forward like, dude, we're about to wipe out. I'm about to bail and put my feet down, and then he'll straighten up with it, because I don't want to land on a guy and flatten him. And Cena would do that. Cena would hold me, and I just felt like, wow, this guy's like a machine when he picks you home. Mark was effortless. I think there's one thing on some of Mark's greatest hits thing or Hall of Fame thing. We were working. When he had that title run, and we were going at each other pretty heavy. He put me through the announce table, and I'm cross body on him. He's holding me through the crotch, the side of the neck, chest to chest, and I wasn't high enough for him to put me through the table, and he just double clutched me and picked me up and dropped me through that table. But the way I didn't have to help him. Like most guys, I help. Like when Cena picks me up, I help. I post on his hip.
Yeah.
I know how to make myself lighter, And Mark, I didn't have a chance to. He snatched me up like I was a kid. He was put in bed, and that was all she wrote. And I just remember just like, that dude is pretty strong. You know what? Remember a wrestler named Johnny the Bull?
Yeah.
Remember him? Years ago, when I was about 470, we were screwing around the ring one afternoon, and he overhead pressed me. Straight up military press. I posted off his shoulders, but he was strong enough to do it. But he had such a dipshit gimmick, there was no way he was going to get that one in. You know what I mean? If he was doing a top draw gimmick, putting some asses in some seats, I'd have got that in for him.
Did you see the thing WWE did for the Mark Henry thing? And you can watch it on YouTube. I watched it on there as well. He was at the it's when he decided to go back,
right?
And because the weightlifting world was kind of dissing him.
Yeah, they were saying he shouldn't use the world's strongest man moniker,
because he ain't competing.
Yeah, Mark's like, oh, okay, fine. Let me hold on for wrestling. I'll come right back and slap you guys around.
And that's when he took that hiatus, and Vince told him, he says, dude, if you don't do this, I mean, there's really not a spot for the world's second strongest man.
Which is, Vince knows how to fire Mark up. Yeah.
Dude. But going back to the Apollon wheel, whatever it's called, it's a big-ass bar that's big around.
Oh, yeah, that Apollo wheel, he didn't lift it once, he lifted it 3 times. Do you see the video where the guy took the bump off the chair in the background?
No, I don't know if I've seen that.
If you look at that video, when on that Apollo wheel lift, there's somebody sitting on stage in the background that Mark picks that thing up so fast, the guy takes a bump off his chair.
Well, dude, he picked it up so fast. It was in the first, second, and third time. It was so explosive, and he'd psyched him up to such a high degree. He yanked that bitch off the floor so dang hard. He almost just went cattywampus because he yanked it off the floor so hard. Yeah. And then the guys all trying not to sell anything.
Right.
But in a room, when you got 15 of the other strongest son bitches that are supposed to be in the world, and they're the ones that was calling him out, and they see him yank that son bitch off like it was a kitten, and they're trying to no-sell it, but it's like, everyone up there selling the shit out of it.
They had a minute to lift it once. He lifted it 3 times. That's not proving your point. That's like, you guys just got to fold up your suitcase, pack it up, and leave. And I apologize, Mr. Henry, and go home.
So what other displays of strength? No, from Mark Henry. So you would rank him as the number one guy.
I mean, Mark just for freakish things. I saw him, and I think I said it during the Hall of Fame. I talked about him tearing the quarter. I can only bend it. I'm like, okay. We were in Spain one time, and we're some bull arena wrestling, and all posted everywhere, no pictures, no pictures, no pictures. You know how Mark is about pictures backstage. He's very old school. So some guy was back there and had one of those Canon cameras where the lens slides out, nice little gimmick, kayfabe, hide it in your pocket, pull it out, take a picture. He snapped a picture of Mark, and Mark moved about 10 feet faster than I think that guy thought Mark could move. I mean, he was on him quick, grabbed that camera and crushed that camera. He says, no pictures. Crushed that camera, broke the lens, and the lithium battery popped inside of the camera. There's just a broken plastic and glass and a smoking battery. He's dusting off his hands, wiping the bits of plastic out of his hands, and I'm just like, don't ever grab me like that. Just don't ever. Mark goes, sometimes I get mad. I feel like I can pull the skin off somebody. I'm like, yeah, I know. You probably can't. Don't ever grab me like that.
Did he ever get mad working with you in the ring? Because it was really interesting listening to him, because I was sitting about as close to him as I am you. We were at his studio in Austin, and he started talking about the time when Vince ribbed him, and they started playing just a bunch of different entrances or whatever, and Mark was up there basically, just kind of standing in the ring with his thumb up his ass, and he was livid because he got left hanging. Well, he went back to find Vince. Well, Vince is gone. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he would tell me about sometimes when he didn't want to go. I think it was during his heel work or House of Pain or
Hall of Pain.
Hall of Pain. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But he goes. It was very hard for him to control that. Mm-hmm. But he did, obviously.
No,
were you ever around him when he got mad?
I saw him get mad a couple of times, and I'll leave the guys out of it because I don't want to embarrass nobody. But he shifts gears, and it's scary. You know what I mean? And I've always said that about Mark, because Mark, he's got that smile. He can light up the room. But, to coin a wrestling term, when he puts a little bass in his voice, the atmosphere changes, because all the friendliness and kindness that Mark has goes out the window, and he's got a temper. And I used to calm him down all the time, because he'd get hot about something, or somebody would try to talk to him and think that he's stupid, and Mark's not dumb. And Mark hates that, and he'll start getting fired. I'm like, okay, man, calm down. You're going to work with me tonight. You don't want to hurt me, all right? Because I'm your damn friend.
Yeah.
He said, man, I'm not going to hurt you. I said, I know, but you're getting all mad over here. I don't want an accident, and I wake up with my forearm stuck in my ear, okay?
But talking with Mark, when I was sitting there, just when he starts talking about that stuff.
You can feel it.
Oh. Yeah. I told my producer when I turned in the show, I went back to my hotel room. I was staying at the South Congress Hotel, about a mile from the studio. That's where he told me to stay. Great place. A little trendy for me, but great place.
Did you feel smarter after you stayed there?
No, but the guy made me some good margaritas. He worked with me on my formula.
There you go.
Dude, I went back to my room, and I called my wife, and she goes, how'd it go? Because I was worried the night before, and I kept telling her, I said, man, I don't think I've done enough research on Mark. And she goes, Steve, you're working yourself. She almost said, working yourself into a shoot. Yeah. She said, just go talk to him. You're going to do fine.
You're stretching yourself out. Yeah.
She goes, how'd it go? I said, I think it was the best podcast I ever recorded. It wasn't because of anything I said. It was listening to Mark's stories. Yeah. But, man, when he's sitting there talking to you and he gets there, you just, dude, there's a force field coming out of that guy that I've experienced very, very few times in my life.
Right, yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah, there's that, like Vince would call it, like law of the jungle, and you know how he is about all that stuff, biggest yada, yada, yada. But you can feel like, damn, if this dude didn't like me, this would be a lot of work.
What do you think? You sit there and take for granted, like, he's such a nice guy. Of course, I never felt that power out of him. Not in that sense. I always knew he was a powerful human being, but you sit there and talk to him. Yeah. It's like, holy shit.
Oh, man, I saved him from, he wanted to kick his kid's butt one night so bad. We were in the car together, and poor Jacob had done something, and Mark was mad, like fuming. Like the steering wheel was starting to creak. We're driving down the road. I'm like, man, calm down, okay? Because he was ready to go home and literally peel the skin off Jacob's hide. I said, look, man, go home, buy a shovel, make him dig a hole. 5 feet wide, 5 feet long, 5 feet deep. Have him fill it. do that to him. That will send a message. Because that's stuff that my dad would do to me, you know. I said, that'll send a message to him. He'll calm down. He'll get it. Because Jacob had done something that really bothered Mark, you know. And Mark did it. He bought him a shovel, made the kid dig a hole. And he says, I want you to know your Uncle Paul saved you. Because, like, Mark was, like, really mad. I was like, don't get that mad with that kid. He's a good kid. He just screwed up, you know.
Hey, let's shift gears. You're out here in the main streets of Los Angeles.
Right.
You've been out here because we've been talking back and forth on the phone, and I've been busy trying to promote. I've been busy. You've been out here for you've been out here for a little bit in Los Angeles. I've been promoting my show, so we hadn't been able to catch up.
Right.
How long have you been out here?
Been here since July 15th. So I'm shooting out at Paramount. I've got my own show.
Okay, well, tell us about the show.
Well, it's a partnership with WWE and Netflix. It's a fictional show on my character, The Big Show. This is the Big Show character, retired, living in Florida, wife, 3 daughters. My oldest daughter is 16. She ends up coming to move with us, live in with us full time. So it's basically me and 4 girls, and me being the Big Show character, being a dad, bumbling around, finding out what the next thing is. And it's a live audience family, 3-camera family comedy. And it's just been amazing. I've been begging for something like this for 10 years. You know, longer than that, ever since I did that Saturday Night Live spot, you know, I've known that this is what I want to do, was that live audience family comedy. This is my bread and butter, so to speak.
So how long have you guys been at camera? How many episodes do you have?
We've got 3 in the can right now.
It takes one night?
Yeah, it's one night of filming. We shoot on Friday nights, and we have a live audience, 140 people.
But you're rehearsing a day
Monday
before?
through Thursday.
Oh, so that's straight up on stage
you do
rehearsal?
you do a table read. Yeah, table read on Monday. Then you start blocking Monday. You do a producer's run on Tuesday. They'll change jokes. Then you do a network run for just the network people on Wednesdays. They might change jokes, and then you rock and roll, do a real hard rehearse on Thursday with camera, and then rock and roll Fridays.
So what's the difference? Okay, I've been to a couple table reads. Okay, then you're blocking. When you say blocking, I know what you mean. Tell people at home what you mean.
Well, when I say blocking, it's where the interaction happens in that scene. It might be Big Show's at the kitchen flipping pancakes, and then when Big Show will put pancakes on a plate, he'll walk 10 feet over to the table to address, you know, JJ or Mandy, which are the 2 girls that are my younger daughters.
And
so
you're hitting marks, and you're basically, you hit a mark, and then the director might say, hey, man, open up the camera this side where. So that's all a part of the block.
Yeah, you've got upstage and downstage, and you've always got to have your conversation so that your face is feeding the camera. There's an A, B, and C camera, and then there's also a camera X, which I think Penny Marshall's dad, I can't remember his name right now, who started all this. He used to film Archie Bunker. He came up with camera X just to catch Carol O'Connor's reactions. You know what I mean? So then there's 4 cameras. There's an X camera that always picks up somebody's reactions in that scene that's important.
So who pitched this to you? How did they approach it with you? And you greeted it with what?
This came about 2 years ago is when the process started.
Isn't it amazing how long things take to happen
Well, dude,
out
I
here?
thought it was a rib at first. I really did, because my contract was up with WWE, and I thought, well, I'm done. I'll go find something else. They're like, hey, we got this show for you. And I'm like, you do? You sure you do? Because, you know, it's like, and you think the worst on a contract time, because you always get paranoid at contract time. Doesn't matter what you've done, how long you've been there. You know how that gets business time. You know, it gets a lot more stressful, I think, than it needs to be. But, you know, it's just part of doing business sometimes. But I didn't know if it was real or not. I didn't know if it was like a dangling carrot, like I was, you know. And it turned out to be a real thing. And on that point, that was 2 years ago. And, you know, I had that match with Braun at SummerSlam. He gave me the slam through the cage because I was going to get my hip done because I needed hip surgery. And so I went off to do that. I had the hip surgery, had the meeting, came out to Netflix and WWE Studios, had the meeting with Netflix, and it was It was actually Netflix's idea. There was a girl that's in charge of Netflix, part of her creative team. She had this idea since she was a little girl she was a fan growing up and wondered, well, what if I had a dad that was a pro wrestler? So she wanted to do this with Nickelodeon, I guess a long time ago. It didn't work. And now she's got the stroke and the power at Netflix, and then they worked out a deal with WWE, and then WWE thought I was the one to do it. So that's how I got the opportunity. It's been amazing. I mean, the show's the Big Show. That's the name of it.
That's cool.
And but I'm loving every minute. It's probably some of the hardest work I've ever had to do, not physical work, but there's there's a lot on your plate. But man, I'm telling you, I'm digging every bit of it. I'm digging the people I work with, my castmates, my crew, everybody on that is just, we're shooting at stage 25 at Paramount, where, Frasier and Cheers and some Mork and Mindy, so many great television shows have been, so there's like a good history of shows there. So I'm loving every minute of it. Going to work for me, they always say when you're going to work and you can't wait to get there, then you're not working, you're doing the right thing. That's me. I love getting up every morning and going in there and saying hello to everybody and diving into the script and seeing what the writers have come up with, seeing what jokes we have and seeing how we're going to put it together. I love it.
So are you done in the ring?
No, I'm not done. No.
You got another one or a couple left in?
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah. I've been gone for so long because I had complications, dude. I had that surgery done. I got a surgical infection. I had 5 hip surgeries in a year.
What was going wrong?
Something was wrong with it. The metal was infected. The metal had a sensitive staph on it that got to the metal. And once it gets to the metal, I had 2 debridement surgeries done where they cut you open, clean it out. And those are real low success rate. And for me, I was trying to keep the original metal because I had this big thing against a full hip replacement. I was like, it'll never hold me, blah, 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 blah. You know how you get stubborn wrestler dumb. You get wrestler dumb.
Yeah, but also stubborn wrestler dumb, and then also, dude, you're the giant on top of that.
Most things aren't made to handle.
Exactly.
Me. So, but
that's also kind of the premise of the show, right?
Yeah. So that's part of the show is the fact that I'm trying to get myself together and find out what's next and recovering from that surgery and that injury. But on the real end of it, it's just been so frustrating because I came back for a little bit with the bar. And I was with Sheamus and Cesaro, and we had a chance to do something really good there, us 3 guys, because those are 2 incredible talents, And man, they were just covering for me because I couldn't move. I talked about it a little bit on the Rebuilding Big Show, and I got to give credit to like Woods and Big E and Kofi too, because those guys really went their way to take care of me. Because at one point I couldn't put any weight on it, I couldn't move, and I was trying. I flew to Minnesota to do that Raw because I needed to do something to put a button on it because I didn't want to leave those guys hanging in the angle. Wanted to put a button on it, and it's what a veteran does. You know what I mean? You suck it up and get it through and do the best. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about. And Vince goes, "What the hell are you doing here?" I said, "I got to put a button on this." So we figured out a way, and I got it done. I remember getting in the ring with Woods, and I looked at Woods because he was supposed to circle me. I said, "I can't move. Just give me a tackle." And he had took a bump, and I went over and tagged out. But the device, the smaller device, had broken and moved 20 degrees inside because that infection wasn't allowing the device to seat onto the bone like it was supposed to. And so in December of 2018, I had that device cut out. I had a temporary device put in, which is what coated in an antibiotic coating on it, and that seeps an antibiotic to kill the staph inside of the wound. And then I was also had a PICC line, which is an IV line that goes in through my arm, into my heart for 6 weeks. And I was on that, and that was a non-weight bearing joint. So I was in a walker all through Christmas up until February 8th. February 8th, I gave myself a new hip. But we had to do blood work every week to find out if my inflammation levels are coming down. Is this infection dying? And that thing hung over me like a black cloud because, man, my markers would go down before, and we're like, okay, we got it beat. And I was taking Zyvox, which is a pill form of vancomycin, which is a real strong antibiotic. But one of the side effects of that, of prolonged usage, is neuropathy. So just about the time I'm about to get my full surgery done, I lose a feeling from my knees down and my feet and my fingers down in my hands, because of neuropathy.
Right.
Because that's what it does. It just burns the nerves out. So I had to go through all my rehab and stuff, not being able to feel anything below my knees. You know what I mean? And it's hard to walk around when all your stabilizer muscles on one leg have been cut 5 times. You got a new joint in, and you're trying to do this therapy, but you can't feel where your feet are. You sit in a chair and your feet fall asleep.
Yep.
That's the way my feet felt 24/7, and that will drive you insane. Much better now. I mean, it usually takes about 6-7 months, maybe to a year to heal. It's almost all gone now.
But it is something that will reverse.
Yeah, it will get better. Yeah, because your nerves...
Dude, if it ain't reversed, I mean, you're...
Oh, yeah, if it's not reversed, dude, I had trouble walking because I would stand on a slight hill and not know that I'm falling or rolling my ankle because I couldn't feel my feet. And then it got to where I could feel like 3 inches in my feet, you know. So I was like walking around on pegs, like pogo sticks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's a little bit, but now I did so much therapy and worked with some incredible people in Florida. Cynthia, the lady that works with me for my therapy, she's next ballet trainer, and so I have a lot more respect for ballet people because she was so tough, it was ridiculous. Like I've had coaches and trainers before, you know, I'd be in pain and, you know, I ever heard, she goes, "That's nice, you can do it." And she was so sweet about it, but like, you know, it's like, she's kind of making me feel like a big pussy over here if I can't do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, that's nice. You can do it. Like, she never let me lighten up. And I pushed all through with that antibiotic joint and the PICC line in. I went to therapy sometimes twice a day just because I wanted to get ahead by the time I put the new joint in. And, she got me ahead and got me ready for Mania. Like, I was cleared to compete for Mania, but I got cleared a week before Mania. So creative's already done by then, buddy. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a personal goal for me to be ready if they needed me to do anything by then, but they didn't. So, and now I'm doing the show, so that's why I'm not doing anything now.
When does the big show start streaming on Netflix?
Right now, I think we're going to start springing right around WrestleMania next year, just before WrestleMania next year, so we can tie in promoting the show, promoting WrestleMania, and hopefully I can do something to earn a match at WrestleMania by then.
And then how many episodes did you sign on to do?
We did 10 episodes to start with. And
y'all are on 3 now.
Yeah, we're on 3 now.
And so now, the first 2, you kind of get through them, and then you start getting into a groove.
I started feeling my groove after the first one.
Right.
And especially by the third one now, I'm learning my timing, my jokes. They're letting me write a couple more jokes here and there. Like I do what the writers want, what the producers want, of course. That's business. And then they'll give me the option, hey, do you have something, you want to say something funny that you think? And then I'll tweak it a little bit, throw a little wrestling humor in there, throw a little bit of... Because I've been around some of the funniest characters that have ever lived on.
Yeah, but dude, anytime I tell a story about the funniest guys in business, you're one of the guys on the list, so you're funny anyway.
So you say I'm funny like a clown?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And I had to fucking parallel park your damn truck out there for you.
Yeah, I know.
No, but you're
ran over a couple of fire hydrants, curbs.
Hey, don't kill the image of a global icon and national treasure on his own podcast. That's rule number 1. You can take a window, you can take a stairs.
I'll take stairs, sir.
You saw me to get you, sucker, right?
Yeah,
I love that movie.
Oh, I love that. Love that movie. Yeah.
So, are you going to try to pursue more acting now? Because this is you're like a kid in a candy store talking about this.
I think so, because I think it's the next evolution for me. I don't listen. WWE is doing fantastic, and I've had an incredible run as a wrestler.
How long you been there now?
20 years.
Jesus Christ.
That's an unheard of run. 20 years in the same company.
Kidding me?
I'm very blessed and thankful. So my whole thing is I'll always be a part of the WWE family because there's things that are important to me that I do with WWE. My relationship with Special Olympics, I'm a global ambassador there. There's other things that I can do to help out now and then. I'm just not a trenches guy anymore. I can't do 5 days a week. Can't do it.
Yeah, but they don't need you to.
They don't need me to. I mean, they got Braun now. I think Braun's doing great.
You put your 20 years in. It's special.
Well, there's still a part of me like you, too, that misses the road, that misses that action. But at the same time, now I need to find something else that challenges me. Because the worst thing in the world you and I can do is sit at home and do nothing. We got to find something to do that challenges.
I can ride my buggy all day long.
Well, good for you. No, I need to keep something going. For me, this has been really a next step. I mean, look, I'm not a good-looking leading man like you or Rock or John Cena. I get it.
Don't even include me on the list. I got a show on USA Network. I was lucky to get that one. So those guys are leading, man. I don't want.
Let me tell you something. I know you don't want part of acting because you don't like some of the rigmarole that goes with it. But dude, you're a captivating dude on camera. You know you are. You could be a hell of an actor in the right situation, the right show. Come on, man. If you did a Texas Ranger show, Chuck Norris is done. You take over Steve Austin, Texas Ranger. There you go. You got a cowboy hat, a gun, a 4x4 Bronco. The show's sold. And you even got a Ram Charger.
Shit.
Come on, man. This thing writes itself. You run around in Texas, serving justice.
Lone Wolf McQuade 2. Bury me in that Bronco. Let me pop a top on a Broken Skull
Hit the
IPA.
turbo on the Ram Charger. Here we go.
That was so goddamn hokey, but so goddamn good. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, there's not enough air to even start that engine.
And Chuck Norris set the standard way back, and he's like a real American guy.
Oh, yeah.
I got so much respect for that guy.
Did you hear about Chuck Norris and Superman getting in a fight?
What happened?
Loser had to wear his underwear on the outside of his pants.
But he set the standard. When they came up with Walker, Texas Ranger way back in the day, they didn't know how to pay him because a show like that had never been done back then. And it got super stacked. And of course, with all the fitness stuff he did as well. But I mean, he's an icon. He's like red, white, and blue.
Yeah, and so are you.
Yeah, definitely red, white, and blue.
Definitely red, white, and blue. You're definitely an icon. And there's definitely, dude, I loved you in your Nash Bridges. You were great. What was the line you told me that Don Johnson told a guy, hey, man, don't make me learn your name? Yeah. That's still one of the coolest, coldest things I've ever heard said to someone.
That was the deal. We was over in, the business was on fire, and I was on fire. And they reached out to WWF, said, hey, man, we'd like to get Steve on a couple of these. Well, one of them. But then we started doing good, so I did about 13 of them. And Don Johnson's thing was, and Don Johnson has been around forever.
And he's one cool cat.
Super cool cat. And he's one of those good-looking dudes. I mean, he had a hell of a run. Let's say that. Yeah. And so you knew that was Don Johnson's show when you went on it, and he was involved at every level. And it was like a rib, but it wasn't a rib.
Right.
And so, someone would be over there, giving me some blocking or giving me a tip or something like that, or if someone made a noise when there wasn't supposed to be a noise being made, he would trademark line, don't make me learn your name. I think it's one of Cena's pet peeves. When he goes on a set, he makes it his mission to learn everybody's name because they're a family. As you become shot
I do the
Big
same
Show.
thing. Yeah.
I've been hitting them with so many steel chairs. I'm still trying to remember everybody's name on my show, but I got 50% of them.
Frank 10 minutes before we got on the show.
Easy, Bill. But that was the deal. Don't make me learn your name. And they really took care of me, though. I'd fly into Frisco. They'd shoot me out in 3 days. And, of course, I'd get right back to being on the road.
Yeah.
It was fun back in the day. Yeah. And it brought me out here to L.A. But I'm having fun doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, but I don't want you to give up that, because there's a lot of people, me included, that are, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on your radio show and you're American treasure more than Betty White. I'm just saying that, as a fan of quality tough guys on TV that resonate with realness, because it's hard for me to look at some of these guys on TV and you go, come on, dude, you get lost in a cotton candy fight at Baskin Robbins with a bucket of butterscotch. You know what I mean?
Gold continues here on the Steve Austin Show.
You know what I mean?
We're going to rename it the Big Show and Steve Austin Show.
Right. But that's something that I think, that is a slot for you. I think you don't like some of the bullshit that goes with it of flying here, this meeting, that meeting, because you'd rather be on your buggy out in the Nevada desert, with your dogs. And you've sold a few T-shirts, so you're doing okay.
Yeah, but you know what? My show, when I got a chance to do that, I want to get off me because I want to finish up with a couple of gold mines from you. Man, my show's cool because, man, we got a crew of about, I don't know, might be about 85 people out there. And we shot that pilot, going back to your story about when you first got pitched that idea, and years later, we shot that pilot, and finally, there was a year deadline. Day before that year deadline was hey, man, the talks are continuing. And so then we continued filming, or started filming again, or started shooting the episodes a year and 4 months later. So it was a process. Yeah. So people all of a sudden...
But it seems like all of a sudden it's slow. Oh, we're working on it. Then, okay, you got 10 days to get to L.A., and here we go.
Oh, yeah. And it was dude, I was kind of give me a little bit of heads up on I'd like to drop a few LBs before we do this, bitch.
I just had a full hip surgery. I'm going on this show, and my leanest was 370 with abs. I'm weighing 402 right now. I get it. I'm a little funny or chubby, but like, nobody wants to laugh at a guy with a six-pack. I got it.
True.
So I got the dad belly. That's the only thing that's keeping me half sane right now. Is like, well, chubby's funny for this show, but November, December when I'm at home, I'm going to start, I'll come back with my six-pack by Rumble. So.
But USA Network has been really, really cool with me. I think they pulled a rib on me the first day we were shooting. I had a collared shirt with a V-neck, button up, and I was wearing camouflage shorts, the same one I'm wearing right now. Yeah. And the dude says to me, he goes, hey, man, you might want to wear a collared shirt rather than that T-shirt because you're going to be in that Jeep on the water. It might help block the sound on that mic. And I've already smelled a rat. I'm like, really? You're going to pull this one on me? But I'll acquiesce, and I'm not going to fight this battle.
Yeah.
So then I look like a real redneck with a collared shirt and these camouflage shorts on. Yeah. So I got to give them credit. They have been give me a lot of leeway with, I said, my dress code. I said, that got to leave wardrobe up to me. I got hair and makeup. I ain't got no hair, so I got makeup. And wardrobe is completely up to me. And I ain't no fashion statement. So and I'm really working with, they surround me probably the best team that you could hire. So they make me 10 times better than what I am.
It's all about having a great crew too, man.
And they absolutely. So they've given me a tremendous opportunity, and I've been enjoying it. And Becky Lynch had a grand slam on the last episode.
God! Have you seen her Sports Center commercial?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God! You've got to see her Sports Center commercial where she's getting a cup of coffee. You know how they do the Sports Center?
Yeah.
Guy goes, "What's the name?" And she cuts this promo. It's giving me goosebumps right now. What's my name? What, you've been living under a rock? You don't have a TV in this place? She goes on, I'm the first woman to go into WrestleMania and come out the champ. Champ, Becky 2 belts. I mean, she goes on. And then this guy goes, for the coffee, she goes, Becky, not too much fun. but it's such a great commercial. Oh, I'm such a huge fan of her. I
had a good time with her because, and I wanted to pitch her to do the show. I said, hey, man, I'd like to have Becky Lynch on. I said, I'm calling her. So anyway, she agreed to do the show, and we were trying to think of something to ride around in. I said, what do you think, Steve? I said, man, I got a Corvette Z06. I got this. My wife says, you got to use the Ford Focus. It was my wife's idea to use my 2003 Ford Focus. And as soon as she suggested, I said, God damn, you're right. I said, it'd be hilarious.
Right.
Because I talk about it on my podcast all the time. And she was...
I remember when you were the top dog at our company, selling all the shirts, selling out houses everywhere, and you drove a damn Taurus, you cheap bastard.
Man, it's all about saving those ducats, brother.
You pull up in a Ford Taurus, and I'm feeling like an asshole because I'm sitting here in a big excursion, working second match. You're working last match, driving a Taurus.
The best rib I ever pulled was when I was in WCW, and none of the boys got it. And I think everybody staying at the MGM Grand or something like that. And I rented it was like a Honda Metro or a Geo Metro hatchback.
Yeah.
And it was rust brown. It had a... aftermarket, like Alpine stereo, but it was the cheap brand.
Yeah.
But it was just a bucket of shit. It was like $15 a day. It was only there for one night. I said, man, this would be great. The boys would pop. I go pull up at MGM. Everybody's there. I get out of the little shit box. I mean, anybody's got one, it's a cool car.
Right.
I had a 1988 base model Hyundai Excel. I've been there. And so it didn't pop none of the boys. I was like, are you kidding me? They're like, dude, why are you driving that? It's fucking rib. Okay, I guess I ribbed myself. Nobody popped.
I had to wrestle in Midland, Texas one time. The only car they had was a little something Ford or Chevy something.
Yeah.
And dude, it was white and it looked like an egg and I looked like the yolk. Terry Anderson from Steamsters fell down at the hotel laughing at me when she saw me getting out of it at the hotel. Because it was one of those I got to open the door and kind of stick a leg out, then throw an arm on the roof and kind of pull myself out of it. And then the car is right about where my lower ribs are. It's like a circus act. How many clowns did you get out of that car?
One time, me and Kevin Nash was riding through. It was Chattanooga. You know that the highway kind of runs through there. It's kind of curvy, and we was.
Is that 40? No,
I think it is 40. Anyway, it's curvy going through Chattanooga. I can't remember the highway. I just remember Chattanooga. And I think it was a Chevy Corsica or Lumina. I bet 99% it was a Corsica. It was white. I remember the color. Kevin was another guy that I traveled with the wheel. I would trust him with the wheel in his hand.
Yeah.
Good wheel man.
Well,
always get you there.
Ex-Army guy. He knew
Yeah.
what was up.
And he could navigate.
Yeah, he could.
But so all of a sudden, man, we're kind of going around this corner, and they'd been running that machine they run down to put the damn little grates in the road to kind of flatten it out or roughen it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that car was kind of skipping around in corners, and then there's a guardrail there, and it was kind of chirping. And I looked over at Kevin. I said, dude, you got a little bit more confidence in this shit box than I do. Would you mind slowing down? He popped big time and slowed down and scared the fuck out of me. And I trust Kevin. Before we end the podcast, you have a pet bird. What's the bird's name?
Max.
So tell me about Max, because you're not so enchanted with Max right now.
Anybody that knows me knows that bird drives me insane. Every time I talk on the phone, if I do any gaming at home, video gaming, live micing, playing with my friends online, that bird starts going. The bird is a constant rib, okay? Whenever I get food, he's dead quiet. I sit down at the kitchen table. I get my fork 3 inches from my mouth. He squawks like the jungle's on fire. And he hits that pitch where it bounces around inside my giant cranium. Just drives me insane. My dog, when he was younger, he's an old man now. He's 13. But when Aries was like 6 or 7, he'd hit that cage about 20 miles an hour and slam that bird right into the wall and knock him off his post, because he'd get tired of it too.
And your dog is half Labrador Retriever, half pit bull.
Half lab, half pit. He's all chocolate. So he would, every now and then, he would just knock the daylights out of the cage because the bird would make so much noise.
So he didn't like it either.
Oh, yeah. And me and him both just hated that friggin' bird, But the bird's under, government, he's like a diplomatic immunity from Lethal Weapon. Diplomatic immunity. You can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, okay. Now, it was your big idea to buy the bird. Why'd you buy it?
I felt bad for him because every time I went in the damn pet store, he had a discounted price and he was ugly. And, I felt bad for him because I'm an animal guy. I like animals. But, I wish I wouldn't have bought that.
What'd you pay for him?
I think $1,200.
And that bird is 11 years old. So he'll live another 100.
He'll live about 90 years, yeah. I think he's an green Amazon, so he'll live to be around 100.
Did he talk, or is it the parrots or the parakeets, whatever, to talk?
He talks, but he laughs like a real weirdo, and he swears, and he'll be.
So he picks up all your bad qualities.
No, that's not me.
No, you gonna tell me that you got that from Bess?
Well, I probably got it from Aries, the dog, but he's just But I got my cat now. We found a cat in the pool a couple years ago, a kitten, and we rescued. I wanted to call him Floater. The family didn't think that was a good name, so.
So what ended up being named?
Nemo.
Nemo, I like it.
Yeah, it worked. Well,
that's a good-looking cat too.
I didn't know that my pit was going to fall in love with him. My pit, it's his best friend. My pit his number one job was to get cats out of the media room. Because they had 5 of them. Sometime a cat would walk in the media room like, hey, what's going on? He'd get off the couch, stick his neck is 26 inches. He'd stick his nose under the cat's ass and flip him out the door.
Shoot.
That's his job. He's like a bouncer. He sends him right out the door, Because if a cat comes in, I nudge him on the couch. Hey, man, do your job. He'd go over there and flip a cat out the door. He don't mess with him. Just the media room's a dog den. It's our area. No cats allowed. He loves this other cat. Whatever it is, they're best friends. They're together all the time now. But now the cat is starting to climb the bird cage and hover over the top of the bird. That bird's getting real quiet now because there's a new sheriff in town. So,
why is the bird so goddamn loud?
I don't know. It's like he gets. I guess maybe if I could talk to a bird person, probably there's a bird person out there that goes, "Oh my God, you're doing all this wrong." Well, I'm sorry. He gets fed. He gets watered. He's in a relatively safe environment when we keep an eye on the cat. So anyway,
well, do y'all take him out and give him some attention? Put him on your shoulder so he can shed on you? What?
When he was younger, I would put him in the shower with me because I had a peg, and he would be fine in the shower, but when he got older, he just got ornery. He's got a really big cage, so he's got a lot of room. He's got a lot of toys. We keep him visually stimulated, but he just...
Maybe he needs Adderall.
maybe.
That's always the answer.
Or Valium, Jesus. But no, he's just ornery. You know what I mean? I mean, he's nice as hell at the best.
Oh, of course.
Nice as hell to her, but, with me, it's just, him and I just, it's like he's a ribber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the minute I go to eat, he'll squawk real loud, or the minute he hears me pick up the phone, he'll squawk and just go like he's getting electrocuted, like I've got his perch wired, and he's getting shock treatment or something, I don't understand.
Dude, you have a palatial mansion. Why don't you move the sumbitch to a different part of the house?
Doesn't matter. That's how loud he gets.
But he can't see you if he's in a different room, is my point.
Yeah, but if he hears
I want to reach across the table and knock on your head and go, hello, McFly.
Yeah, okay.
But I think better of that.
I understand that, but at the same time, I've moved him in the house where, okay, I won't cross his eyesight.
Got you.
He'll hear my voice and go insane. You know what I mean? And it's weird because he'll make me so mad that I'm like, it's an animal. What's wrong with you? And then he'll laugh or say, he laughs like that. And it's ridiculous.
Are there any heartwarming moments with this bird at all? Does he have any redeeming qualities?
To me, no, I don't think so.
But
I mumble all the time when he's being an asshole and nobody's around. I look at him and go fried chicken.
Okay, so
I let him know that he's real close to being Popeyes.
Like I'm a dog guy. And
Me too.
You just came in, some of my dogs.
Love them.
Mula's too getting healed up on her
I like
ACL.
the one that doesn't listen to you, right in the pool.
Yep. Yeah, Callie.
Yeah.
So I'm a dog guy. And then I got exposed to a couple of cats, and we're getting a couple of barn cats for our place in Nevada.
Yeah.
And so cats, like you said, and that cat you have, my niece got one. She rescued a cat. And they're the cool as hell.
Right.
Once you warm up to them and you get a dose of what a cat is all about and their personality.
I just never got cats when I was younger because I didn't know what they did. They're not, at the time, I didn't think a cat was a supportive animal. Like a dog is going to be there, thin, in the box next to you, you're homeless, living under a bridge, your dog's going to be right there with you, Cat seems like the first one that comes along with a can of tuna fish, they'll bail on you. Not true when you bond with a cat.
Our friend across the block from us who remodeled our house for us, they got one of them lynx cats, minx, whatever, got stripes on it. Yeah, whatever it is.
Yeah,
they walk around the block.
Yeah.
Him and his wife walk around the block. The cat follows behind them. I mean, it's like a damn dog.
Yeah.
So when we bought that place in Nevada, we've had it almost 2 years now, and the cat, the barn cat, transferred with the property. Her name was Taylor. Taylor passed away about 2 months ago. So anyway, I was sorry that the cat died, but I wasn't as close to it as my wife had become to it.
Yeah.
So now we're about to get 2 more cats, and we'll pick them up next time we go down there. My buddy Jim has got those cats for us. My question to you is, long-winded tangent here, but so I'm very attached to my dogs. I was attached to Taylor. I'm sure I'll get attached to the cats. There doesn't seem to be any emotional attachment between you and this bird. Why don't you sell the sumbitch?
Okay.
You don't want to bail out on it?
Yeah, I'm a bold-faced liar. If it's in my house, I love it.
Got to own up?
I got a bird. I got a turtle. We got Big Slow the turtle. We got Max the bird. We got 4 cats now. We got Aries, he's 13, so he's...
Would your wife let you sell it if you wanted to?
No.
She's still calling the shots.
Well, I mean...
you can admit it on the show. 50% of the shots?
Some really cool signs you got up here in the recording booth here.
What are you getting at?
I may have offered to donate the bird to like Busch Gardens or something so it could have a happy, free life outside.
Yeah. What'd she say?
No.
Okay. Wrap it up and tell everybody where they can find your show, The Big Show Show. It's going to be on Netflix. Tell them social media, anything you want to plug. Now's your chance to plug it.
No pressure, right?
No pressure.
No pressure.
Just don't stutter. Develop a lisp. I want people to understand where okay, stop. Everybody's so damn sensitive out there. I'm going to get a bunch of emails. Wow. Steve, my dad stuttered like a motherfucker, and you brought back a bunch of bad memories. I'm sorry.
I love it. Well, the best thing I can tell everyone is that, yes, I still work for WWE. Yes, I will be back doing little things here and there, contributing and pop-up appearances here and there. We're working forward right now in this partnership with WWE and Netflix Studios on the Big Show. I'm working on a couple of other shows as well. There's a couple of other irons in the fire, completely unique things that I'll probably have to come back on the show and share with you when those develop.
Love to.
Other than that, I'm very happy, healthy, motivated, thankful. A lot of people say attitude of gratitude, but I definitely have an attitude of gratitude. Thank you for everyone that's ever supported me.
All right, let's give big ups to Geico for being a loyal sponsor of the Steve Austin Show. Go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes, you can be saving 15% or more on car insurance. That's right. Save hundreds of dollars on car insurance at geico.com. Extra money in your pocket? It may just be the most rewarding thing you do today. TrueCar knows that every car comes with its share of stories. That ding in your bumper from when you attempted to park somewhere in Los Angeles, or the mileage you saved by taking a bus all summer. While you can't put a price tag on your stories, now with TrueCar, you can at least find out what your car is worth when it's time to sell it or trade it in. Just go to TrueCar, simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Then just answer a few questions. Navigation, moonroof, spacious trunk. This way, you'll know how much of a hit it's going to be so you can plan ahead. Once you're finished, you'll get a true cash offer sent in minutes, which you can take to a local certified dealer to cash out or trade in. So when you're ready to experience a better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today. True cash offer not available in all areas. All right, everybody, give me the go-home cue. It's time to wrap up this podcast and ride off in the sunset. But before I do that, I want to thank my buddy, Paul White, The Big Show, coming by the crib and shooting the breeze and doing a podcast with yours truly. It's always good to talk to Paul. And if you want to know what really happened, we talked for about 30, 40 minutes before we hit that damn record button. And then after I hit the stop button, we talked for about another 2.5 hours, just word on the street and kayfabe stuff that we can't really talk about on air. And caught up with all the details and the latest, greatest scuttlebutt in the business of pro wrestling. So it was, and trading some information with Paul. Always good to see him. He's one of the funniest guys I know. I wish him all the best and much success with his brand new show, The Big Show on Netflix. I'm sure it's going to be a hit for him. I'm sure he's going to get multiple seasons and have a blast doing it. Congratulations, Paul. Hey, man, don't forget to rate and review the Steve Austin Show on Apple Podcasts and tell your friends to check us out. And make sure you set your DVRs for Straight Up Steve Austin every single Monday night after Raw. As we saw on the program this past week, I had an awesome time hanging out with Gabriel Iglesias at Fluffy Guy on Instagram and Twitter. Fluffy is one of the hardest-turned comedians in the United States of America, running about 46 out of 52 weeks a year. He's been a good friend of mine for a long time. He's been by the crib several times. It's always a pleasure talking to him, and obviously it was a blast to have him on the Straight Up Steve Austin Show. So please, I hope you set your DVRs, and I hope you enjoyed that show as much as I enjoyed making it with Fluffy and getting to tear down the track in my 74 Z28, shooting crossbows, eating a Cali burrito, all kinds of stuff. I wish we could have aired all the footage that we got of the stuff that me and Fluffy talked about, but some of it was a little off color on my end, and we couldn't that wasn't going to make air, but it was a blast hanging with Fluffy, and I hope you have set your DVRs for the rest of the season, because now that Fluffy has been on the show, we're kicking into Monday Night Football. My next special guest will be Dale Earnhardt Jr., so if you're a NASCAR fan, make sure you tune in next week. And then the following Tuesday, make sure you tune in the following Tuesday right after SmackDown, because that is a season finale. Yep, already. It's over as soon as it started. Right after Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Monday after Raw is Tuesday SmackDown, and my special guest is country music superstar Trace Adkins. And Trace Adkins and I shot the pilot to this show about 1.5 years ago. 1 year and 3 months, something like that. I'm in the ballpark. It's been over 1 year. So I got to give Trace a whole lot of credit for coming out to the main streets of Los Angeles, the location we film out at, and that was the very first one, and that's what spun off, and we did all the other episodes from. So make sure you tune in, set your DVRs this Monday and Tuesday after Raw and SmackDown. Dale Earnhardt Jr. on Monday, Trey Zatkins, country music singer, superstar, and now actor, and doing all kinds of stuff on Tuesday after SmackDown. Hey, man, if you want to reach me here on the podcast and give me someone you've got an idea for me to interview or something you want me to address or talk about, send me an email to questions@steveaustonshow.com. And, man, here's a hellacious announcement, man. The best damn IPA in the United States of America, Broken Skull IPA from El Segundo Brewing Company, is making its way in October to the New Jersey, New York, and Massachusetts area. There's a bunch of damn places over there. If you go to the El Segundo Brewing Company website, and then you look on the far right of that header, it says Broken Skull IPA. If you click on that, there's an interactive map where they've got these broken skulls all over the Southern California side of the West Coast, and then all the way across the East Coast. If you click on those skulls, we're in Long Island, we're all over New York, getting into Massachusetts and Jersey. You click on those skulls, it will give you an address to give you a heads up of where you can find the best IPA in the United States of America. They're saying it's an invasion. This is the friendliest invasion that there ever could be, because I've got so many friends and people over there on the East Coast that I've entertained and made relationships with over the years, and people are curious about this beer, and this is a West Coast IPA coming over there to light up your taste buds, and I hope you enjoy this. So be on the lookout. Go to the El Segundo Brewing Company website, click on Broken Skull IPA, and look at the map and find it in your area. And we're making our way up there a little bit more. 2020, we're looking to get to, give or take, 6, 8 more states down there into Texas, I believe. I hope. Texas is thirsty, and that's where my home and my heart is. Or that's where I was born and raised, and I'm out of there right now. But I sold a Broken Skull Ranch, but we're trying to get down there. I want a beer presence in the state of Texas. Anyway, hey, man, don't forget my new badass King of Attitude shirts are available now at Pro Wrestling Tees store, ProWrestlingTees.com. Check out ProWrestlingTees.com/Steve Austin for those shirts, along with all of my other badass Broken Skull Ranch apparel. And I'm really proud of these new King of Attitude shirts, because the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars, was the most profitable years in the history of professional wrestling. There was one guy who led that charge, and you're listening to him, yours truly. I ain't gonna blow a bunch of smoke up my ass, but these are some badass shirts. If you're looking to get a badass pocket knife, I got 2 for your ass. Cold Steel Broken Skull knife and a working man's knife. Get them at my Amazon store. Amazon.com/shop/Steve Austin, or go right to the Cold Steel Knives website. I want to say one more thank you to all the fine sponsors of the Steve Austin Show, especially Borderlands, Trojan, Geico, TrueCar, and BetOnline.ag. That's how I'm able to do this podcast for you twice a week for free. Please support them, because they support us. If you need more info on my sponsors, check out the show description to this episode for details. Folks, I can't wait to get out to Nevada, back to the Broken Skull Ranch 2.0. I'm looking forward to riding, and if you see me out on the trails, I will proudly be riding a Kawasaki. Folks, until next time, my name is Steve Austin, and I will catch your ass down the road.
This has been a Podcast One production. Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every Tuesday at PodcastOne.com. That's PodcastOne.com.